my name is Tracy, horticulturist and team leader here at Rogers Gardens, and today we're going to learn how to test our irrigation system. So why would we want to test our sprinklers? We want to figure out if they're watering our plants effectively and efficiently. The only items you need to collect in advance are 10 to 15 straight-sided, no-tapered cans. Soup, tuna, or marinara cans will do. Okay, now that you've got the cans, we can begin. First, you're going to start by locating and turning on one of your irrigation stations or watering zones. Once you've done that, you're going to take an inventory of what area this covers, because this is where you will place your cans at random. You can go ahead and turn off the irrigation now so you can place the cans randomly throughout the area without getting wet. Make sure all the cans are 100% upright. The size of the can won't matter, as we will be measuring depth, not volume. Step 4. Once the cans are placed, we can turn the station on again, but this time run it for the entire cycle you would normally run. This could be anywhere from 3 minutes to an hour or more. Whatever your typical runtime is, this test will help you understand how much water is making it into the landscape. Step 5. All your cans are full. So now it's time to grab a ruler and measure the water we've collected in each one of them. Ideally, all the cans will measure the same amount of water, and this would make our zone operating at a very high irrigation efficiency. But we may not see that to be true. In step 6, we're going to record all our measurements. In our test, we got the following results after running the system for an hour. As you can see, we ranged from about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch. You may notice our numbers in inches may be far lower than yours. This is because our system has been retrofitted with a more water efficient technology. They're called MP rotator heads. These MPs use less water for the same area than other nozzles would. In an optimal condition, meaning no wind, they'll distribute an application rate of 4/10 of an inch per hour to allow for better water absorption and a deeper root penetration to be achieved. Basically, because we're watering less and more slowly, the soil can keep up and absorb everything the sprinklers are putting out. So the first thing we're trying to do is figure out how much water is being applied per hour. So we're going to take all those cans and the amount of water that's in each of them, and we're going to add them all up together. So in our case, that ranges from 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. We'll add that up, which for us equals 3.125, and we're going to divide it by the amount of cans that we have placed throughout the garden. That gives us 0.3125, which is roughly 1/3 of an inch per hour. So now that we know how much water is being applied per hour, we need to figure out how much water we want to be applied. Generally speaking, you want to use about 1 inch of water to penetrate into soil from about 6 inches to 10 inches depth. And that's going to really range between whether or not you have clay soil, sandy soil, or that perfect loamy mix. So in the case of us needing to put about 1 inch of water on the soil surface, we will have to run our system for 3 hours. The next calculation we do is to figure out what our irrigation efficiency is. How uniform is the distribution of water over the soil surface? We will take the lowest amount of water that was applied, which in our instance was 1/8 of an inch, and we will divide it by the highest amount of water that showed up in a can, which was 3/8 of an inch. When we divide 1/8 by 3/8, we get a 33% irrigation efficiency. That's going to be the range between the driest and the wettest can. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my, that's not a very high efficiency. But what it does is it tells us some really valuable information. We're going to go back out into the field and we're going to adjust the spray head that's near that 1/8 of an inch can, and we're going to adjust the spray head that's by the 3/8 of an inch can, and we're going to make those work more optimally. This will include cutting away a shrub that might be in its way. It might be extending the pop-up so it can spray over a shrub. It might be fixing a leak. There's any number of reasons why the inefficiency might be off a little bit. So we figured out our irrigation efficiency was about 30%. So we know we need to adjust the heads where the area was that got the least amount of water. Now when I'm looking at this head, I'm actually noticing that there's some spray going off onto the hardscape, And the area where the can was, we're calling that a hot spot because it wasn't getting enough water, which means it was nice and dry. So I'm going to use my little tool for the MP rotator head. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the radius. Now when I'm adjusting the radius, I'm eliminating water from this area and I'm spraying it more in the area where there wasn't enough water. This is actually an area where I had too much water in the can, so I'm also going to make an adjustment. First thing I notice is that it's spraying a little bit too much water in that direction. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the arc. I'm also going to change the radius because it's spraying a little bit too much as well. Now that I've made both those adjustments, I've changed the irrigation efficiency in this area and the water is being applied more thoroughly and evenly. Now that we've learned how to do a really easy irrigation can test, you have all the tools in your back pocket to audit your gardener and check out your garden, make sure that it's getting watered correctly. We want to do this to make sure that our irrigation is being adjusted accordingly and our plants are getting the water they need. Good luck!